Class 12th, Subject Physics, 12th chapter, Electromagnetic Induction. From the chapter, let us see what is back EMF and back torque. If a DC motor is connected to a battery, it will run as a motor. If a motor is turned on by any external means, by some external agency, it will behave as a generator. Hence, whenever a motor is running, its generator action cannot be turned off. So according to Lenz's law, induced EMF will tend to oppose the change which produces it, and therefore the induced EMF will tend to reduce the armature current. The induced EMF, which is unavoidable due to the generator action in motor, is called as the back EMF. The induced EMF, which is unavoidable due to generator action in motor, is called as back EMF. Initially, when the motor is just starting off, that is, as soon as it is switched on, its armature is not rotating or turning, and hence it is not producing any back EMF. As the motor starts speeding up, when it takes speed, then the back EMF increases, and at the same time the armature current decreases. Hence, the current in the motor is larger in the beginning, that is during the starting of this motion of the motor, than when the motor is running to a full speed. Now let us see the induction and energy transfer. What is that induction and the energy transfer? In order to explain this, let us consider a rectangular coil ABCD in the form of a loop. So here ABCD, it is a rectangular loop, closed loop, made up of the conducting wire, and which is placed in the magnetic field B in such a way that only some part of that loop will be inside the magnetic field. That is, the length of this loop will be equal to Lx and its breadth is equal to L. So this part of this loop is placed in the magnetic field, that is, that closed loop ABCD is partly placed in this magnetic field. Now this dotted line will represent the boundary of this magnetic field, that is, within this area only the magnetic field will be present, and it is denoted by the circles with plus sign. This represents that the magnetic field is perpendicular to the plane of the board and directed inwards. That means the sides of this rectangular loop will be now perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field. Now this coil or this loop will be now pulled towards right with the help of force F with velocity phi, such that there will be change in magnetic flux associated with this coil, and hence EMF will be induced in this loop, so that induced current I will be produced in that loop which is in clockwise direction. So like this, that current will be set up in that loop as soon as it is moved towards right with some external force F. Now this current carrying loop is now placed in magnetic field, and therefore we know that when any current carrying conductor is placed in magnetic field, then it will be acted upon by the magnetic force, and therefore out of four sides of this loop, one side is, that is BC, is outside the magnetic field, and therefore no magnetic force will act on it. But the remaining three sides of this loop are in the magnetic field, and therefore they will be acted upon by the magnetic forces as F1, F2 and F3. This side will be acted upon by force F1. This horizontal side will be acted upon by force F2, and the second horizontal side will be acted upon by force F3. Now the directions of these forces will be given by Fleming's right hand rule. So if you consider this side AB, segment AB of this rectangular loop, then for that the forefinger will indicate direction of current, the middle finger will indicate direction of magnetic field, and the thumb will indicate the direction of force. That is, on that side AB, the force F2 will be directed in the upward direction. Similarly, for this side DC, current is flowing in this direction, and therefore if we consider like this situation, then the forefinger will indicate direction of current, the middle finger will indicate direction of magnetic field, that is inwards, the thumb will indicate the force acting on it, which is in the downward direction. These two forces F2 and F3, these two forces will be equal in magnitude and opposite in direction, therefore they will get cancelled with each other. Now the remaining force F1, so again it will be calculated like this. Direction of current will be in the upward direction, direction of magnetic field is inwards, and the force directed will be towards left, and therefore this magnetic force F1 will try to bound this rectangular coil moving towards the right side. So the force will be, magnetic force is directed towards left, and therefore it will oppose the motion of this coil towards right. And so that in order to displace that coil towards right, some external force F, which will be opposite to that of direction of force F1, and in magnitude it will be slightly greater than F1, must be applied. So due to this external force, that loop will move towards right with some velocity phi. Now let X represents the length of this loop which is inside the magnetic field. L is the breadth of this loop which is again in the magnetic field, and the length of this total magnetic field is equal to small b. Now if you consider this diagram, when current is set up in this loop, suppose R is the resistance of that loop, then EMF induced in that loop will be equal to E, and so that induced current I will pass through this resistance R. And therefore we can say that here, as there is displacement, mechanical displacement of this loop through the magnetic field, so that some mechanical work will be done. Similarly, when electric current is passed through that loop, therefore electric work will be done, and therefore we will have to find out the mechanical power as well as the electrical power. And therefore now we will proceed for this derivation, and therefore we can now say that the rate of doing work, on the loop, that is power. Rate of doing work according to definition is work done per unit time, that is the power, and that will be the mechanical work, will be given as P is equal to work W upon time T. So when this loop is displaced due to this external force, at that time mechanical work done W will take place in time T, and therefore it will be given as it is. So work done is nothing but force F into displacement of that loop D. So force into displacement will be equal to work, and then it will be divided by time, so that we will get power. Now this will be written as power P equal to force F into velocity phi, because force F will remain as it is, and displacement upon time, that will be the velocity of that loop. Therefore the power is written in the form of the scalar product of two quantities, that is vector F dot vector phi, as equation number 1. So this will be the mechanical power, vector F dot vector phi, as equation number 1. Now the magnetic flux that we will have to find. So as the loop is moved towards right, the area of the loop lying within the magnetic field decreases. So when this loop is now moved towards right, at that time the area of the loop which is inside the magnetic field will now decrease, and this will cause the decrease in the magnetic flux linked with that moving loop, so that when it is moved through this magnetic field, at that time the magnetic flux linked with this part of the rectangular loop will now decrease, and therefore the decreasing magnetic flux will now induce the current in the loop. As there is change in magnetic flux, the current will be induced in that loop, and the induced current gives rise to the force that appears, or it will oppose the pulling of that loop away from the magnetic field. So these magnetic forces developed in the loop will now oppose the motion of that loop towards right, and then the magnetic flux through the loop will be given as phi b equal to ba, because magnetic flux equal to product of magnetic field and area, that will be equal to blx. Now area A, we will have to consider this area, that is the part of that rectangular loop which is inside the magnetic field. So its length is equal to x, breadth is equal to L, and therefore area we will get Lx, and therefore phi b equal to blx, equation number 2. Now as x decreases, from this relation it is clear that as x decreases, the value of magnetic flux through that loop, that is phi b, will also decrease, and therefore according to Faraday's law, that is E equal to minus d phi by dt, here we will consider only the magnitude. So magnitude of induced EMF E is equal to magnitude of d phi b by dt, but d phi is equal to blx, and therefore we can write d by dt of blx. From this, b and L both are constant, because that magnetic field will be uniform magnetic field. Breadth of this rectangular loop, that is L, is constant, and therefore we can write magnitude of induced EMF E is equal to BL into dx by dt, derivative of x. But dx by dt, that is rate of change of displacement with respect to time, is nothing but velocity, and therefore magnitude of E will be equal to BL phi as equation number 3. So here we have got the magnitude of that induced EMF is equal to BL phi. Now similarly we can find the magnitude of induced current I. So this current I, which is induced current in that circuit, will be given according to Ohm's law, phi is equal to IR, and therefore I is equal to phi by R, but here phi is nothing but induced EMF, and therefore we can write magnitude of that induced current I equal to magnitude of EMF E upon resistance R. But this magnitude of induced EMF is equal to this BL phi, and therefore we can write BL phi upon R as equation number 4. So this equation will give us the magnitude of the induced current. Now if you consider the forces, then we can say that this force F1, which is in the backward direction, then force F2 and F3 are equal in magnitude and opposite in direction, therefore they are cancelled. That initially we have seen these two forces are cancelled, and only force acting on the rectangular loop is F1, which is directed towards left. Now in this case force F will be equal to minus F1. This force F, that is externally applied force, must be equal to minus F1. Then and then only this rectangular loop will be now moved through some distance towards right, and therefore the magnitude of that force F1 will be given as magnitude of force F1 will be given as, we know the relation that when any current carrying conductor is placed in magnetic field, then the force acting on that is given by the general formula ILB sin theta, and therefore magnitude of force F1 will be equal to ILB, because L is the length of that side, AD, ILB sin theta. But if you consider theta, that theta is the angle between L and B. Now length of this segment AD is in the vertical direction, magnetic field is perpendicular to it, and therefore theta will be equal to 90 degree, and hence we can write ILB sin theta as the magnitude of force F1. That will be equal to sin theta, that is sin 90, will be equal to 1, and therefore that force is equal to ILB, and it will be similar in magnitude to that of externally applied force F. And therefore now from equation 4, that is from this equation 4, if we put value of I in this relation, that is of ILB, then we can write magnitude of force F1 is equal to B L phi upon R into LB, and therefore it will be written as B square L square phi upon R as equation number 5. So this will be the magnitude of force F1, or magnitude of force, that is F, which is externally applied force. Now the rate of change of doing mechanical work, that is power. Now mechanical work, already we have stated in the first equation that this power, that is mechanical work per unit time, that power is equal to F dot phi, and therefore it will be written as P equal to factor F dot factor phi will be equal to factor F, that is nothing but this force, that is B square L square phi upon R, that is the value of force F, similar to that of F1, and therefore we can write B square L square phi upon R, that is the force, into velocity phi. We have considered only magnitude here, that will be equal to B square L square phi square upon R. Let it be equation number 6. This gives the mechanical work done. Now we will have to find out the electrical work done per unit time. Similar to this, mechanical work per unit time, that is power, we have found. Now we will find electrical work. Now if you consider like this any closed loop, then according to Joule's law, when the current is flowing through any resistance, at that time the rate of production of heat energy, because according to Joule's law, when electric current is passed through any conductor of resistance R, at that time heat will be produced in that conductor, and that electrical power P is given as I square R. I square R, and therefore again value of this I, for this value of I, this I square R, that is I square R, because small current, that is it is represented by only I, and therefore it will be I square R. As electrical power P is equal to I square R, therefore from equations 4 and 7, so from this equation 4, that is value of I, and from this equation 7, that is I square R, we can write P equal to, this will be the electrical power P equal to B square L square phi square upon R square, that is value of I square into R. That will give us B square L square phi square upon R, B square L square phi square upon R as equation number 8. And therefore from these relations we can conclude that the work done in pulling the loop through the magnetic field appears as the heat energy in the loop, because this equation 8 represents the electrical power, and this equation number 6 will represent the mechanical power. So mechanical power is equal to B square L square phi square upon R. Electrical power is b square L square v square upon r. So right sides of these two equations are the same. Sixth equation gives mechanical power. Then eighth equation gives the electrical power, and therefore we can conclude that the work done in pulling the loop through the magnetic field will appear as the heat energy in the loop.